So hi everybody, it is Erin and we're going to make some fun little Christmas decor. Now this could be decor that you put on your tree, this could be decor that you hang as a gift, it could be something you put on a little door hanger. It really can kind of go any way you want. I made this guy about 3 days ago and I wanted to see how well it would dry. This is rosemary, and what I've done is, and I'm going to show you how to do this with fresh. I do have some other ones I cut, but I think the fresher works best. At this point, you could unwind all of it and then you have some beautiful rosemary that you can dry. So it could easily be a gift, or it's just something that's really kind of pretty that sits in your house. And since I live in Texas, we don't get a whole lot of pine stuff, but rosemary grows like a weed around here, and I have a ton of it in my front yard. And I thought, well, let's kind of play with that idea and let's have fun with the rosemary. And so we're making little rosemary wreaths. I wanted to hang something down from it. So what I have done, and what you see right here, are little clay pieces that I've cut out, and the clay is Macon's clay. It's an air dry clay that I cut out, and I did a bird and I did a bell. And we're going to turn them into little hanging pieces that kind of hang down, little ornaments. So basically what I've done is I rolled out the clay, and I did this one in white. So I rolled out in white, and then I punched it, or I cut it using the cutter of the shape. And then for this guy, I took the Chandelier Glimmer Glam, and you can see all the beautiful glitteriness that's in the bottom. Really got a lot of that yummy glitter, and then I painted it on. Simple as that. So for the bells, I actually went through and I did them in yellow, and I didn't like it as much in the yellow Glimmer Glam. So I'm going back over with my gold. And there's just lots of really yummy gold glitteriness. And this guy I kind of dropped, so I'm just adding a little bit more here. It's just really, really a simple process. Just like that. And then when this was still pretty wet, I went ahead and poked a hole in the top to turn this into a little ornament. So you just take a little poker, and you just want to make sure that when it's wet, you poke a hole in the top there like that. Really simple. You know, kind of go both ways. These are not 100% dry. I did make them yesterday, but they're not there yet. And so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of twine, and I'm going to use the same poker and kind of poke the twine through and pull it just like that. And so now we have a cute little ornament. I don't want to go too long on my strand because I want it to hang. So the whole point is it's going to hang like this. So I think about here. And all I'm doing is I'm double looping just like this. And I'm going to cut the tops off. And this is just a basic twine. Canvas Core sells this twine. It's really quite simple. And then I'm going to loop this up and fit it in here. This is just a tiny bit long to fit into this. I don't want to see this, so I'm going to kind of tuck this in here. But I want to be able to see my ornament. When it's all said and done, it looks like this. So it's a little wreath, and it's got a little hanging ornament on it, and it's got a really pretty little bow. Now, I do not want to do my wreath making near my glue or near my clay while this is still drying, because it's kind of shedding a tiny bit, but it's making my house smell absolutely beautiful. So we are going to finish, and I'm going to show you how to make the wreath part itself and how to do this beautiful bow, and we're going to do a second wreath together, but I'm going to move this off and get new supplies. So what I have right here is these are rosemary. These guys have been picked about 2 days ago, and I live in a pretty dry area, and at this point they're not very pliable. They're breaking too easy. Whereas when they're fresh, they're a little more pliable, not as much. Plus, they're less likely to shed on me, so I just picked these. If you only had some dried ones, I'm sure it would work, but we're going to work with more the fresh end. So your strands that you want are about, and make sure there's no little fun buggies coming off of them. Again, make sure your house smells absolutely beautiful. It's kind of got that pine smell in a way, but fresh rosemary is one of my favorites. So you want about 12 inches, and you need 2 of them. And then you need some floral wire. And we're going to make this next bow a little different than the other one, and I'll show it to you in a second. You do not need, oops, I'm going to use my wire cutters here. You do not need a ton of floral wire. You just need enough to help kind of hold it in place. And you want to kind of hide the wire as you're putting it in. You don't want it to be super, super obvious. So the first step is you're going to take and you're going to kind of overlap two sections here, and this becomes the top. And you're just going to wrap it around. And then you're going to kind of start bending it into the shape of a wreath. You're going to kind of help it along. You know, this is nature, so it's going to want to kind of fight you a little bit. And this is why you're going to need 2 to 3 strands of your floral wire. If you break your stems just a tiny bit, these are thicker stems than normal, that's absolutely fine. So wherever you feel it's kind of pulling away and having a problem, just go ahead and wrap it with your wire just to hold it all in place. And yes, your hands are going to smell like rosemary after, and that's absolutely fine. I'm going to speed this up and continue taking some of my floral wire here and wrapping up and making this look more like a wreath. All right, so here we go. Now I did clip some of my older rosemary and attach it to this guy. And then here, if there's pieces like this that are bothering you, one of two things: rip it off or tuck them in. You know, if they seem to be kind of doing their own wary thing, like this little guy up here, tuck it in. You know, there's nothing to say that you can't mold it and make it your own thing. And it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. You're making your own little wreath. Now I need to decide what's my top and what's my bottom. And I think I'm going to go with this being my top. And if you feel like you want to make it fuller, add more to it. But the whole point is just to make something that's a little bit easy and cute. And then you could easily snip off the wires and use the rosemary or start picking it. It's really kind of your thing. There's a ton of wild rosemary, but before you start going off and just picking people's rosemary, wherever it may be, make sure you ask, just to be on the safe side. All right, to make our bow, I'm just going to kind of show a comparison here. So this is more of the fresh rosemary, and notice how it's dried. It has kind of wilted down just a tiny bit, but that's okay. So there's really nothing wrong with either one. This still both look beautiful, and this one still smells gorgeous. To make our beautiful bow, I am not going to do this floral wire in here. This is a metallic one I got at the dollar store, but it's a pain in the butt to work with. It's really hard to wrap it and get that pretty little center there. So instead, we're going to use a little bit of the red on the white. So we're going to make a white bow. This is the burlap fringe from Canvas Core, and this is in white or ivory. I think this one's actually an ivory. Yeah, it's an ivory. And I'm going to use the Brilliant Bow Maker. I picked this up when I was at the Pinners Conference, and from a little company called Little Pink Ladybug. She's got a whole bunch of tutorials about how to use these, and she gave me a pack here, and this is called the Scrap Pack, and it's like 4 different sizes of bows to help you make stuff like this. What I need is about, it says on here, use 15 inches. So let me get a ruler. And I will say that when I did 15 inches, when I did some trials on the first one, I didn't feel it was quite long enough because I wanted some tails hanging down. And so I'm going to use a little bit more than 15 inches this time, which is what I did with that one. So that's 12. Okay, 13, 14, 15. But I'm actually going to go to all the way to there. So I had, and I don't think this was a full amount. So if it's a little bit long, that's absolutely fine. You know, I still have some left over. This was left over from the other strand when I made this, but I think I've already delved into this and kind of pilfered some. I'm going to clean a few of my little cobwebs off. This is burlap, and burlap can shed, so just be careful. But I just love the rustic feel of the burlap on this, which is why I'm using it. All right, so here's how this works. Take your bow, or take your ribbon, excuse me, fold it in half and find your halfway mark right here, okay? Then we're gonna take it and we're gonna line it into here, and we're gonna put that halfway mark right on this marker right there. And then you fold over forward, fold over forward, fold down, fold down. And this is where you know you've got long enough, because these are your tails that are going to stick out the end here. And so I think mine, I actually probably made that guy longer. So these are your tails right here. They're going to get a tiny bit longer, but not by much. At this point, and this kind of stays, she used this clip, and I see why she used it, because it really does make it a whole lot easier, but I don't have the fancy clip that she used. So we're going to have to try and finagle it. It works, just makes it a little bit harder. We're using floral wire because we're going to attach it to this, and that becomes removable. And then if I give this to somebody, they can remove the bow, or if I decided to keep it for myself, it's up to me. At this point, you're going to kind of come in, and I may have made the wires too long, but that's okay. And just kind of hold it in place. Basically, you're just kind of holding your bow, and then you want to detach it from your little template here, and it just slides off. Now what I want to do is I want to pinch this. This is my center here, and I want to squeeze it in to make it look like it's a bow. Your floral wire is actually holding your bow in place, and you can kind of maneuver it and get it to where you want it to be. But you can see the beginnings of our bow. And there's many, many ways to make a bow. This is just one of many. And it's a little bit harder to work with because of the material. If you had a much easier material, then you wouldn't have all the issues I'm having about trying to form it and meld it. But I want a nice tight center. And then all you're going to do is you're going to cut your little ends off to make them look like they're little fun peaks. Try and make them as same length as possible. Didn't really cut that one that great. That's okay. Makes it imperfect, makes it look better in some ways. Try and make it too matchy-matchy, and it's almost like you tried too hard. These are way too long, so we're going to trim them up. So basically, this is our floral wire. I'm going to make sure I twist it enough, and it's holding our little bow in place. You could leave it just like that, but I don't want to see that little space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to knot it in the center, and I'm going to wrap it around. I'm actually going to cut this in half. It's way too long. Same concept, that was just too short. I'm going to reapply some more glue to this because I think a lot of it stuck, and unfortunately that little piece I think is now toast. I don't think I can do much of anything else with that guy. Coat it because you want it to stick all the way around. Take it, make the knot in the middle. Got kind of a fun knot, and it's going to look kind of frayed, and that's absolutely fine. And then just wrap it around, tuck it in behind, wrap it around, tuck it in behind. And you add some more glue if you need to. Really make sure. Fabri-Tac would work fine too. This just happened to be the one that I grabbed off the top, out of my stash right there. It was the first one. But I liked it. It's a nice tacky glue because it will grab it and it will hold it and it will not make it move. If you don't like some of the little stringies, cut them off. Just a different way of making a bow. If you really want to get fancy, you could take some of these long strands and have fun and add to your bow, but I want to do more of a clean because there's a lot going on between the ornament and the wreath and the bow and 2 colors of bow, and there's a lot happening. Now take your bow and you've got your wire on the back side and just wrap it around and attach it. And there it is. Beginnings. I think I'm going to get some more floral wire and actually attach my little ornament on there a little bit better. Because right now it's just kind of hanging. So I'm going to fold this in half so it hangs at a better height and really kind of hide that ornament in there. I'm going to just wrap it. There's a stick right here, which is perfect. Also be a really cute table setting and place setting for your guests at Christmas, for your Christmas table. really adorable. And then they have a fun bow and an ornament they get to take home. You know, it's not that expensive. You know, really any material would work for that bow. So it makes it really nice and really pretty. And a simple bow would work too. You know, you can definitely use different materials here. If you've got rosemary in your backyard, this is really a cheap way of doing it because, you know, it's free, you're growing it. So I'm going to go ahead and attach and make our other bell ornament. I did make 2 of each because just in case one messed up, I wasn't sunk and I wanted to show both of the ornaments. But you could mass produce these. They're very easy to do and they do not take a huge amount of time. So thanks so much. Enjoy my cute little rosemary wreaths with a fun little ornament and bow attached. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Welcome to my 1500 giveaway. I'm giving away 4 different Brutus Monroe mini chalk ink sets to lucky winners who subscribe to my channel. All I need you to do is go to the video linked here, which is my Brutus Monroe Ink Lab. Go in the top corner and hit the I button. It'll take you directly to that video, and then just leave a comment that you would like to win. And if you're a new subscriber, please say that, or if you're a returning subscriber, let me know. That's it. Thanks so much. Bye.